in this one, I'm trying to just give you a realistic account of what it actually takes to level up in your life. And look, I just want to start by saying, I am nowhere near where I want to be, yeah? I'm giving you this account from somebody who's went from skinny to good shape, went from absolute zero, not a penny to scratch my ass with, to making $2 million on the internet. And someone who didn't have any social skills at all to then going on podcasts and being actually quite happy with my social skills and stuff like that. So some people hear that and think, well, you know, that's nothing to them. I get it. Some people are a lot further ahead than me in business. That's cool. But this is just my account. And, you know, that 0 to 1.9 mil, I'm proud about that. That was difficult. You know, starting from absolute zero, I didn't have anybody to, you know, give me advice on the things that I was struggling with. Don't get me wrong, I had, you know, I've got family members and stuff. I'm not familyless, luckily. So I've got, you know, I'm blessed for that, that's for sure. Got to count your blessings, but look, I never had nobody to advise me on the business I was going into. Nobody knew. You know, I had general things I used to ask everybody, but no one advised me. I just had YouTube, and I just had to go through trial and error and use YouTube. And, you know, the truth is that way can work. But that way it takes a long time if that's all you know, if you're relying on free content, then it takes a long time. And so let me just give you an account of when I started being a business owner. Well, an entrepreneur, let's say, because an entrepreneur can not be making money. You know, you can say business owner, but unless you're making money, you're not a business owner, are you? So, you know, let's just say entrepreneur. Well, I was 17 years old, I just left college, and I'm applying for jobs, can't get a job anywhere. I'm talking like JD Sports, yeah? I cannot get a job, like the easiest entry-level jobs. For some reason, I can't get a job. And this pissed me off. Let me tell you why. Because I did all the stuff they tell you to do to get a good CV, yeah? So I had, you know, maths, English, other basic GCSEs, whatever. I had loads of work experience from when I was a kid. I had all these extra bits like first aid certified and all this type of bullshit, right? And I could not even get a basic job. And I just couldn't understand it. It didn't sit right in my mind because I just thought to myself, like, I've got to convince you to give me a job. Like, you should be convincing me to come and work for you. Like, I'm doing you the favour. I know that's a fucked up way to think, but that's just how I thought at the time, right? As a dumb kid. So I started asking people how to make money. So I'd go around asking loads of questions. And the thing is with me, listen, I'm not the smartest person you've ever met, but one thing, I am inquisitive and I ask questions. And I'm not afraid to go up to somebody and ask a question and put myself in the position of being an underdog and a student. Like, I've always got a student mindset. I will never not ask a question to save face. Like, I'm more than happy presenting myself as a complete beginner. And I am more than happy to demonstrate when I am a significant level below lacking in somebody else. Even, I'm not even just talking about business, right? So if someone's got the best social skills I've ever seen, they've got a gravity about them that pulls people towards them, like a magnetic aura, and they're just so amazing at, you know, taking apart groups, and they really liked it. I'll ask them about that. I'll go up to them and ask them about that. Because what's the point in me being insecure about being seen as a beginner when I can just go ask for that information? So that's the way my mind works with that. Anyway, so I'd always ask. And, you know, I got a few suggestions. I tried a few things. I did start making money. And when I started making a little bit of money, it gave me quite a lot of confidence. And, you know, I fell into some money when I was young from hustling, straight hustling, all the time. And, like, I went from literally, I've never had a job, so I never had any money to put in the business. Usually what I would recommend is, if you're a little bit older or even if you're young, go get a job. Don't put so much pressure on yourself to do it all from zero. Just to think you're cool, yeah? Go get a job, go put the time in, save the money, and then put that money into the business. That's what I would suggest. So this is what I did, right? I locked myself away, and I had a massive challenge. So in the business that I was in, I needed a lot of money in stock. I needed hundreds of thousands of pounds of stock to compete with my massive competitors. If I stood a chance, I would need hundreds of thousands of pounds in stock. So I realised there's only two ways that you can make more money. for the stock, right? It's either earn more or spend less, okay? They're the only two ways you can create more money. And what I did was, I drove both to the maximum. So I absolutely cut down all my personal expenses, and I absolutely ramped up as much as possible my earning potential. Because what I realised was, the more money that I could get, the more money could be converted in stock, and the more stock that I had available, the more money that I made. So I went through this period of being this kid, right? And if you'd have seen me back then, I'd have been wearing cheap gym sets, kind of scruffy looking, always scurrying about like a rat, yeah? I would go to my office every single day. I would scurry in because I was a bit self-conscious about people seeing me. Like, I had all this money in the stockroom in Bradford, right? And I was quite, nervous and quite, insecure about people finding it. Paranoid, I was paranoid, right? There were even times when I pulled up at the side of the road so I thought people were following me. Because I was so much in my own bubble, right? I would just go to this office, I would scurry in, I would not say hello to anyone, I didn't want anyone knowing what I was up to. And I would just sit and focus and be in my own mind all the time. And look, that going through a period like that, especially when you're young, where you're having less social events, you're not working on your social skills, you're not talking to anybody, people are not asking about you, you don't have any opportunity to live a normal life living like that. But even with me being like that and putting towards it 100%, I still came short at times. So what I'm trying to say is, I went into that business with absolutely no skills, no knowledge, and no finances. I had nothing. All I had was my time, right? And I was young. So I had to transform that time into something that was beneficial for me. And you have to be able to go through a period of extreme isolation. And it's hard at the time because your mind will start playing tricks when it's idle. Now, the reason why you go into the isolation period is because when you have no skills and you have no knowledge and you have no money, you have to be doing something to create the skills, like swapping your time. You have to be doing something to get the money, like working a job or doing flips. And you have to be doing something to gain the knowledge, like reading or courses, or be able to buy the courses, whatever it is, right? So without this period of time where you're just so immersed in it, if you're not dedicating your life to really trying to build something significant, then it's going to take too long to get there. And look, when you're starting a business for yourself, you see all these guys killing it online, right? There's a lot of people killing it out here. Like, I'm in Dubai right now. It's crazy the amount of wealth out here. Young guys driving big cars. And some of them are rentals. The loser boys will say, rental, it's a rental. Well, they're not all rentals, bro. People are making money out here. Do not be mistaken. People are getting paid out here. But one thing you've got to understand is they all went through that period. None of them fell on the money easily. This easy money thing doesn't exist, okay? So what's easy to do is look at people your age who are already successful and making something of themselves and thinking, oh, they're smarter than me, they're better than me, or even worse, you're making excuses to why they got there. And the problem with that is, you've not seen what they've got done to get there, and they've done a lot to get there. And the reason why it's so young is because they started very young. And they all went through this extreme isolation period. And just to let me try and explain this extreme isolation period. You're second guessing or saying straight no to every single social event. You're not only on your own all the time, but your mind is taking a hit because you're working all the time, you're perhaps saving money, you're restless, all your time is going on the business, you're working late at night, you're working on weekends, you're there late on Sunday night, and it's extremely lonely, hard to get around, especially when you're young. You feel like your life's going past and you're not living it. You feel like everyone's progressing around you but you. You feel like you're shit every single day when it's not working, or a day that you don't make money, like I used to. And it's a super shit time. Let me just make no excuses for it. It's a super shit time. But the good thing about it is, when you spend so much time on your own like that, you will really get to know yourself, right? Your insecurities will be louder and louder and louder, and it'll get to a point when you just accept them rather than saying they don't exist. And when you're giving yourself that much time to actually learn one thing, just by looking at it and looking at it and looking at it, you'll start piecing it together and figuring it out. And then these things that seem so massive, because you've gone through this isolation period, you're not getting distracted by other people, you're not getting distracted by other things, your finances are getting put to work, you're driven, you've got a purpose, you're on a mission, you start accumulating wins. This is really where you build the momentum, and this is really where you can gap people by going through this extreme isolation period. Now, this, or monk mode, or whatever you want to call it, right? I was doing this before monk mode were around, but I did a lot of things wrong. I did a lot of things wrong, and if you can take anything away from this video and you like what I've just told you there, and you're getting excited by that and you're thinking, well, I'm going to use that to build something for myself, which I hope you all do, please learn from my mistakes. So what I did was, I went into this period and I genuinely thought, right, as a kid, that once I get this amount of money, my full life will change. I just thought it was all about the money, that is it, yeah. Big mistake. Because when I did start hustling and I really started getting my head down, I was working so much, hustling so hard, spending all my money, time, or making money every single day. It's like the more work I did, the more money I got paid, and it was like quite fast with it. You know, usually it's delayed gratification, but I was straight hustling. I was selling in person and stuff like that, as well as website sales, so it was a nice blend, and I was making a lot of money. And or at least I imagined I was, but I didn't actually know until the first time I ever did a profit and loss account. The first time I actually worked out how much I was making in my business. Yeah, this was, you know, probably a year and a half in or something like that. I was making 10 grand a month profit. That's just how busy I was. But that was not a pleasant thing in my life. And you might think, how is making 10 grand a month not pleasant? And listen, that's all I ever wanted. I just wanted to be rich. I didn't come from money. I wanted money badly. I went on this journey and I got there, but it was weird because I was expecting my life to be here, but my life was down here. Now, the reason why my life was down here is because I never changed from monk mode to business owner because I didn't have any milestones in check. One, I wasn't tracking my finances. So, you know, when I was making all this money, my life, I was still living with my parents. I was not going out to any social events whatsoever. I was not wearing the clothes I wanted to wear. I was driving an 800-pound old van that I'd just been hustling in since, well, my first vehicle essentially. And I didn't have any friends, and I didn't go out, and I didn't live my life. I didn't look how I wanted to look. And not only that, but because I'd spent so much time on my own, all these insecurities that I had personally, they all got louder and louder and louder and louder, right? And what it was for me, the insecurities that I had was my social skills, right? And I sort of gained a bigger insecurity about it the more I did in monk mode. And this is where I went wrong, because I expected the money to fix all those things. Whereas if I'd have looked at myself and been honest with my insecurities and actually decided, like, Theo, you need to change these, and actually sit down and figured out how to fix the insecurities, not just focused on money, maybe when I got the finances, I'd have been in a much better spot. Because that's a lot of turmoil in your mind when you've got such a high expectation and then you finally get there and you make all the sacrifices and it doesn't get met. That's where you end up in this scenario of turmoil in your mind. And I think that's what a lot of people are expecting, to be honest with you. You know, a lot of this social media content is geared towards just make money and live the lifestyle. And look, that's good. But at the end of the day, if you've got insecurity about making friends or you're unhappy with yourself, well, you know, you can be in Dubai and you're going to have those same type of feelings. You can be in a Ferrari and you're going to have those same type of feelings. You've got to actually sit down and read yourself and apply the same pressure to fixing your insecurities as you do to making money. You've got to be looking at it. You have to look at yourself like a machine. I'm not talking about in your output or your work. I'm talking about how can you make the machine well-oiled. You know, the success in your business is going to come from the success in your personal life also. That's what you've got to try and understand. So you've got to include your self-development in part of your full business and entrepreneurial progression. And when you start doing that, things are going to make a little bit more sense. and you're not always going and striving for this thing that may or may not be the fix. So, you know, yeah, you do need to go through a monk mode. If you don't have any, if you don't have any money, don't have any skills, don't have any knowledge, you do need to go in a monk mode. You do need to cut things off. You do need to stop saying yes to social events. You do need to save your money. You do need to do all those things. But don't go in with the thing of this money is going to change my entire life. Because when you do get there and that's all you focused on, which is my point, then it's not the apple's not going to be as sweet, or the berry's not going to be as sweet as you think. Whatever the analogy is, yeah, it's not going to be as sweet as you thought, and you're going to be let down. And that might be hard to imagine. There's me watching this and thinking, Theo, how the fuck are you telling me 10 grand a month you're going to make my life? 10 grand a month, I would be happy as Larry. I would be absolutely over the moon. My life would be fixed. Believe me, I thought the same. I learned the hard way. It was a shame. You know, it didn't deter me from making money. I still want to make money. Yeah, I still got the drive, still got the hunger, but it added a bit of complexity and it gave me some new challenges. And, you know, now I try and focus on not just the money, but being the best version of myself that I can, being honest with myself and including self-development into my learning and business. So yeah, look, bit of a long one today, boys. I hope you found some value in that, just learning from some experience. And, you know, any thoughts, leave a comment down below and subscribe to the fucking channel in a bit.